Hello everyone, welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. I'm Nivedita Rajay and today we are going to discuss Unit 3 of Chapter 1, Jurisprudence, Nature, Meaning of Law. So let us start. Before we begin, you should know that we have a course that we have launched. It's a BYJU'S Comprehensive CLAT 24. Now this course comes with a lot of things, everything basically that a person needs in order to qualify this competition. Right, so we take care of you right from the beginning, right from the scratch, from the, from getting you clear with the concepts till the day you need to revise for the exam. That is 2nd of December, obviously. So from the preparatory material to practice, revision, notes, etc., everything is being taken care of just by single course. And that's not just it. CLAT 24 comprehensive course does not just prep you for CLAT, it also prepares you for all the other non-CLAT exams. Okay. So if you wish to understand what the course entails, how we teach, what we do on the, portal, how we take regular paid classes, you can unlock a 3-day trial, which is available for free. Just enter your number, register yourself, and you get 3 days worth of classes for free. Let us start. This is the agenda. We are going to understand the historical perspective, the schools of law, function and purpose of law. Mind you, this seems to be the most boring aspect of law. When you are doing your graduation, you will find out कि jurisprudence से ज़्यादा तुम्हें कुछ बोर नहीं करता और उसे पढ़ने के टाइम पे तुम्हें लगेगा मैं ये क्यों पढ़ रहा हूँ, मुझे ये समझ भी नहीं आ रहा, किसी ने कोई थ्योरी प्रोपाउंड की, उसे मैं क्यों पढ़ूं. सोशियोलॉजिकल स्कूल, एनालिटिकल स्कूल, हिस्टोरिकल स्कूल, कंपैरेटिव स्कूल, व्हाट इज द पॉइंट ऑफ ऑल दैट? द पॉइंट इज लॉ इज अ फिलॉसफी. व्हाई डू वी कीप इंटरप्रेटिंग लॉ? एग्जाम्पल से समझते हैं. आर्टिकल 21, राइट टू लाइफ एंड पर्सनल लिबर्टी, दैट्स इट. Okay, right to life and personal liberty cannot be taken or cannot be curtailed except by the procedures established by law. That is all that Article 21 says. Constitution में इन 4 लाइनों के अलावा इस आर्टिकल में और कुछ नहीं है. बस right to life और personal liberty ये की वर्ड्स हैं. अब इन राइट टू लाइफ और पर्सनल लिबर्टी को ओवर एंड ओवर हुसैना खातून से लेकर अब तक इंटरप्रेट ही किया जा रहा है. लाइफ के, लिबर्टी के मीनिंग्स हर डेकेड में चेंज हो जाते हैं. 60s में द मीनिंग यूज्ड टू बी समथिंग एल्स, 70s में मीनिंग इवॉल्व हो गया, 80s में उसके और ही कुछ मायने हो गए, 90s में उसने बिल्कुल ही हालत खराब कर दी और अब 21st सेंचुरी में वो क्या क्या नहीं एंटेल करता. मतलब आप ये समझे कि एक आदमी को एक इंसानों वाली जिंदगी गुजारने के लिए जो भी कुछ चाहिए आर्टिकल 21 उसे इमीडिएटली गारंटी कर देता. Now it's in this new evolutionary era where we need internet, which has become an inherent source of survival, is now a part of Article 21. Who would have thought? किसी ने सोचा था कि कमरे में बंद रहना, प्राइवेसी को एंजॉय करना, अपने टेक्स्ट मैसेजेस को हाइड करना, अपनी मर्जी के व्यक्ति से शादी करना. Who do you choose to love? Who do you choose to marry? What do you want to do with life? What kind of education do you want for yourself? What kind of upbringing? What kind of life do you want for yourself? Everything has become a matter of personal choice. Thus, privacy. एक प्राइवेसी नाम की चीज कुछ एग्जिस्ट नहीं करती थी इस एक कंजर्वेटिव एरा में, where all the decisions pertaining your life, all the major decisions pertaining your life, whether it is career or marriage or children, used to be taken by elders. Now they're, autonomous decisions. You need or you get to make what is best for you on your own. You will decide what is best for you on your own. कोई और नहीं डिसाइड करेगा. और ये कैसे हुआ है? ये इंटरप्रिटेशन से हुआ है. इंटरप्रिटेशन कहाँ से आता है? इंटरप्रिटेशन जूरिस्प्रूडेंस से आता है. लॉ की अंडरलाइनिंग फिलॉसफी जूरिस्प्रूडेंस कहलाती है. इन सिंपल टर्म्स, अगर आप फिलॉसफी को समझने लगेंगे तो आपको लॉ भी समझ आने लगेगा. जैसे कि हमारे कंट्री में जो जूरिस्प्रूडेंस है, क्रिमिनल जूरिस्प्रूडेंस, वो इंटेल करता है कि वो हर आदमी इनोसेंट है जिसकी गिल्ट प्रूव नहीं हुई. एवरी पर्सन इज इनोसेंट अंटिल प्रूवन गिल्टी बियॉन्ड रीजनेबल डाउट. जब तक कि एविडेंसेस के थ्रू आप ये प्रूव नहीं कर देते कि वाकई उसने कुछ गलत काम किया, वाकई उसने क्रिमिनल एक्शन किया, और उसको आप इस तरह से प्रूव नहीं कर देते कि भाई अब कोई डाउट रहता ही नहीं. अब ये कोई भी कह देगा इसे देख के, यार माय लॉर्ड यही मर्डरर है, माय लॉर्ड भी मान रहे हैं, कोर्ट भी मान रहा है, वहां बैठा हुआ हर व्यक्ति मान रहा है, क्योंकि एविडेंसेस ने ये चीज प्रूव कर दी है. जब तक कि इस तरह का सर्कमस्टांस डेवलप नहीं हो जाता तब तक उस आदमी को सजा भी नहीं मिलती. ये क्रिमिनल जूरिस्प्रूडेंस है, ये लॉ की अंडरलाइंग फिलॉसफी है कि किसी की गिल्ट स्टैब्लिश होने से पहले आप उसे सजा नहीं दे सकते. डेमोक्रेटिक सेटअप में, इवॉल्व्ड सोसाइटी में ये रूल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. इसी को फिलॉसफी कहते हैं. तो लॉ क्यों डेवलप हुआ, हम लॉ के किस सिस्टम को किस तरह से क्यों फॉलो कर रहे हैं, ये सब फिलोसफिकल एस्पेक्ट है और ये सब कुछ जूरिस्प्रूडेंस गवर्न करता है. अब हम शुरू से लेकर चलते हैं. वी स्टार्ट ट्रेसिंग आवर स्टेप्स बैकवर्ड्स. शुरुआत कहाँ से हुई? हिस्टोरिकल फिलोसफी ये थी, एनालिटिकल फिलोसफी उसके बाद आ गई, सोशियोलॉजिकल फिलोसफी उसके बाद आ गई, बात की फिलोसफी उसके बाद आ गई. बाद में जब आप लॉयर बन जाएंगे, I'm so sorry. When you become a lawyer later on, when you have the, duty to interpret laws, when you become a judge, when it is your inherent obligation to understand and interpret laws in order to, deliver complete justice, it is the philosophy that you would resort to. You cannot just assume things. You cannot just create something out of thin air. No, it is the historics, it is the sociological, analytical, all the schools of philosophies that are there, which you are going to apply in order to interpret that law so that you can actually do justice. That has been done since the beginning, and that is why we have these rights that are getting evolved. Right to speech was a right that we had since the beginning, but in that right we have several other facets. If we don't want to speak, that is also our fundamental right. In order to speak, we need information, we need stuff. You need information in order to speak, to exercise your fundamental freedom. Hence, information also becomes a fundamental right. Are you getting? So, philosophy is important because to understand law, you need to understand philosophy. And jurisprudence provides you with that philosophy. So, whenever you are doing your graduation and you study jurisprudence, or whenever you are taking your judiciary exams, PCSJ, you will see that jurisprudence has a crucial role to play, right? Because most of the students hate it because it is too much theory, nothing, no section, no case law, all the schools, philosophies, etc. Very, very theoretical subject, which is a little boring to some students. But never forget that it is important. So whenever you ask yourself this question, why am I reading it? Why do I have to read it? Remember what I said. That is the reason why you have to read it. Introduction. Law can be described as a system of rules and regulations which a country or society recognizes as binding on its citizens, which the authorities may enforce and violation of which attracts punitive action. Now, this is a very simple, a basic understanding of law. What is law? Why do you have law? Why do we need law? In order to keep a civilization running in a proper and in a proper evolved form, so that we do not become animals, so that we do not become primal. So that is why we have rules and regulations, so that people don't start doing whatever they want to. For example, let's say one fine day a man finds curiosity in man meat. He thinks that, what if I eat, I like chicken, I like buffalo, I like pork, I like duck, I like all kinds of meat. I haven't really tried human meat. Let me try human meat. And then he starts eating human meat. Guys, just give me a second. I'm so sorry. Yes, so, one fine day a man decides that he wants to have human meat and he kills another person and he eats human meat. Now, since eating meat is something that people do in order to survive, eating becomes a common thing. Even if you eat a man, even if you kill a man to try its meat, If you don't have order, rules and regulations, this kind of act will not be punishable. It would be construed as normal, usual. But in a civilized society, can you allow this kind of activity? Can you see cannibalism and just, turn your head? You cannot. And human beings are the most vicious animals on this planet. If they are not kept in check, there is no saying what they might end up doing. And that is the reason why those animals, those poor animals which are bound by the dictates of nature, they need not be kept inside a zoo. It is the human beings that needs to be kept in check. And the checks and balances is provided by law. Okay, that is what law does. It keeps us in check. It keeps us in a particular zone so that we don't become more vicious than the animals. Animals are better. You might be thinking, ma'am is so harsh about human beings. Well, I am a little bit. Law has also been defined from philosophical, theological, historical, social, and realistic angles. Therefore, different approaches led to different concepts of law, and consequently, various schools of law have emerged. Historical perspective. This is the historical law. Okay, historical school, which was the first school of thought. This is where the law started developing. We never had a law. Law was not given to us by Lord Almighty. Of course, right? We created law for ourselves because people even in the early ages recognized what kind of people, what kind of beings we are. So we need to be kept in check. Everyone understood it. And that is why the schools started developing. So historical rule or historical school of law was the first school of thought, or was the first, what should I say? A first discussion over how the legal system needs to be and what you can do or resort to in order to develop law. Like right now, when we are going to develop law, we have a proper society. We have an entity. We have legislature. So we have a group of people creating laws for us, whatever we require. We have a central legislature, parliament, we have a state legislature, right? But what happened when they did not exist? What happened when we did not have a proper governing system? How did law develop then? It developed through juristic people, or people who thought law is essential, who used to write philosophies regarding the system that is running their society. So the first was historical school. The case of Speculian explorers, a fictitious case. 5 cave explorers trapped inside a cave with limited food supply. A lottery is held and one Roger Wetmore was put to death and devoured. Following their rescue, the survivors were charged with murder of Roger Wetmore. In your opinion, should they be acquitted or convicted? Read again. Historical school क्या कहता है? हम ये what does the historical school say? We'll understand it through this example. Now, this is a case of Speculian explorer. This is not a real case. It is a fictitious case, which the author used in order to explain what he was trying to say. He created an entire scenario of fake case situations. Why is there no law regarding killing of animals for their meat? Well, such a good question. Because we have an ecosystem, right? We have an ecosystem. There's an ecology that exists in the society. So we are made that way. Our biology is made in a way that meat is also something that we can consume. Survival becomes important, and survival becomes more important than everything. So in an ecosystem, there are carnivores, there are herbivores, right? There's a food chain. So, there's a grasshopper which is eating a grass. A grasshopper is eaten by a frog. That frog is eaten by a serpent. That serpent is eaten by an eagle. So this is the most basic food chain that you might have seen in your school in the basic biology lesson. That is what we call a food chain. Abhi, think about a food chain at an Arctic area. This is a food chain that would exist where there is grass. What if there is no grass? Human beings can survive on vegetation. But let's talk about human beings that were there in Siberia where there is no vegetation, or islands near the Arctic region where there are no trees, no fruits, no such thing as we call, vegetables, etc. How do they survive? They would survive on the existing food chain. So there are animals which they can eat in order to survive. Those animals would have something else that they can eat. Though the prey that is being eaten by those animals would have something else that they can consume. So food chain gets established as per the current habitat. So if the habitat is green, has fruits, veggies, everything, then human beings do not really need animals. But when there is no greens, no vegetation, there is nothing that you can eat apart from what exists. Now that was the basic idea. But this evolution led to human beings becoming omnivores. So they can survive on either. Now in a country like India, where we are tropical, the Indian continent, subcontinent is tropical in nature. It means that we have plenty of vegetation. It's a green country. That is why maximum population of this country is still vegetarian. Now if we move towards the west, there is cold. The seasons are more harsh. The winters are harsh, the summers are harsher. Something might exist, something might not. तो इस तरह से डेवलप हुए हैं हम. That's how we have developed. Now the scientific evolution, have given us all kinds of resources. Some things that were not available except in a particular season are available all throughout the year. For example, let's talk about spinach, amla, oranges. These were available only during winters because they were winter fruits. They could only be availed in winter. But can you not eat oranges all the year? Of course you can. You can have orange juice also. Similarly, spinach can be consumed all the year round, and so can gooseberry. So that's what I'm saying. These are food chains that used to be there that led to an evolution where human beings started enjoying other kinds of foods also. So vegetation and meat, both are diets that they can survive upon. And now it has become more of a taste or a lifestyle rather than a necessity. ओके तो इसीलिए अब तो लॉ बनाने वाले ही मीट खाते हैं, तो लॉ कौन बनाएगा मीट हटाने के लिए? बहुत ही सिंपल है. थोड़ा ज्यादा खींच दिया मैंने, बट आई थिंक यू अंडरस्टैंड. Yes, so this was the fictitious case. What did the fictitious case say? It said that there were explorers who were trapped inside a cave. Now they, tossed a coin as to who would be killed to be eaten because there was nothing to survive upon. So Roger Wetmore was, he lost the bet and he was killed and he was eaten by the remaining explorers. The question was, the remaining explorers, should they be convicted for murder or should they be acquitted because they did what was required in order to survive? What is your opinion? रॉजर वेटमोर को मार के खा लिया ताकि बाकी लोग अपने आप को बचा सकें. क्वेश्चन ये है कि इन बाकी एक्सप्लोरर्स पे मर्डर का चार्ज लगना चाहिए या नहीं? एनीवन? No one? There were different opinions actually. One was the opinion of Chief Justice Truepenny, who said public opinion and sentiment has no sway over the word of law, hence they are guilty. So even if a normal person thinks, yeah, survival is more important than anything, so that one person died, the other four survived. So if at the cost of one person you get to convicted for that, was a mixed opinion. So if at the cost of one people you can save another four, then that one person's death should not be punishable. अगर एक की जान दे के तुम बाकी 6 को बचा सकते हो तो उसकी एक की जान दे दो. ठीक है, ये नेसेसिटी हो गई, यूटिलिटेरियनिज्म हो गया, सर्वाइवल हो गया. सो यू शुड डू व्हाट इज बेटर, बेनिफिट फॉर अ ग्रेटर गुड. इन दैट ओपिनियन दोज पीपल शुड नॉट बी किल्ड, दे शुड नॉट बी कन्विक्टेड फॉर मर्डर. नाउ दिस वाज अ पॉपुलर सेंटिमेंट, दिस वाज समथिंग दैट पीपल सेड. Right? People also assume that anybody can have different opinions. Justice Trupani said that sentiment of people who are going to kill, or sentiment of people who have made the decision of killing another human being and then eating him in order to survive, cannot have any opinion. They cannot have a word. Law exists above them, and hence they should be held for murder. Opinion of Justice Foster. Justice Foster said, natural law, within the laws of nature, it is acceptable to sacrifice one person. And again, a utilitarianistic concept. If a lion starts feeling pity for the prey, the entire cat species would expire. It would extinct, because they are carnivores. They need meat. They cannot survive on any other food item. Right? So Justice Foster said that, take natural order into consideration. A being requires to survive, and that is how their biology is, wired. So the biology demands that they should do anything to survive. That is what has led to evolution. The beings who could not catch up with the advancing society, extinct. Right? The beings who could, evolved. Are you getting my point? Human beings are one of the beings that evolved. Okay, we had several ancestors. Those ancestors could not survive the race because they were not fit. Survival of the fittest. So natural law demands that the fittest would survive. Every other being would perish. You need to catch up with nature. So if the nature is overpowering you, you need to do something in order to save yourself. And this is the reason why sacrifice of one in order to save another set of people is absolutely justiciable, hence not guilty. Justice Stating said, if hunger cannot justify the theft of food, then how can it justify killing and eating of a man? Now he was confused. Let's say, French Revolution. What led to French Revolution? Do you know what led to French Revolution? Have you read French Renaissance? There was a man who stole a piece of bread. And he stole a piece of bread because he was hungry for days. That man was executed. Such a big price to pay for a loaf of bread. Now that, such simple act, such basic act, and that man was executed. That man was executed. The entire episode led to French Revolution. सोचो कितनी छोटी सी घटना है, कितना छोटा सा इंसिडेंट है. इस छोटे से इंसिडेंट से French Revolution हो गया. The French rulers, they were killed, they were beheaded. Imagine. So, that is what Tatting got confused about. Ki, you are punishing people who steal food. So you still consider their act as stealing, even when they're stealing the most basic thing. And they have to steal because there is a discrepancy in the system. The entire machinery is defective. The cogs are not getting enough fuel. Okay, and people should not have to steal food. They should have resources to earn it. They should have jobs. They should have money to be able to buy food, to be able to afford food. We are living in a crippled society where people cannot even eat. They're hungry. And a hungry man can steal. But you cannot even forgive him for stealing food. If you cannot forgive him, if you cannot justify his act of stealing, even if it is stealing food, the most basic thing, then how can you justify a murder for food? You getting my point? So he was unsettled. When should you start preparing for CLAT? Which CLAT are you talking about? 2024 or 2025? मैं अपना पढ़ाना लिखाना छोड़ के पहले आपके क्वेश्चन को आंसर कर देती हूँ. चलो बताइए कब, which exam are you preparing for, CLAT 24 or CLAT 25? That also determines. I mean, either way you should have started your preparation. If you have not, if you're taking CLAT 24 and you haven't really started, well then you need to start immediately, like today. आज ही से शुरू करो क्योंकि टाइम कम है. It's just 5 months remaining for CLAT 24. If you are sitting or planning for CLAT 25, well then you should start right now also. You should also start for CLAT 25 right now, because then you would have ample amount of time. Right? So either way, is CLAT 24 or 25, the preparation should have begun. हाँ, स्कूल से ही शुरू कर देना चाहिए. स्कूल के बाद ही है ना क्लैट. कॉलेज में जाने की प्रिपरेशन स्कूल में ही शुरू करनी पड़ेगी ना बच्चे. सोचने वाली बात है. अब सोचो, ये एग्जाम तब हो रहा है जब तुम स्कूल में ही हो. बोर्ड्स बाद में होंगे, स्कूल को तुम बाद में पास आउट करोगे, क्लैट पहले दे दोगे, तो स्कूल में ही करनी पड़ेगी. है ही नहीं कोई चारा. एग्जाम का पैटर्न और डेट ऐसी है कि स्कूल में ही प्रिपरेशन शुरू करनी पड़ती है. तो यह सबको करनी स्कूल में ही शुरू करना पड़ता है. ओके. Now, this is the opinion of Justice Keene. Defendants have gone through extreme suffering, but that is opinion as an individual, not as a judge. Judges are not to apply their conceptions of morality, but to apply the law of the land. The law of the land holds killing of a person a crime, no matter what intention it is done with. It is a crime, it will always be a crime, and hence it is guilt. They are guilty. I cannot be sentimental regarding the fact that those people were hungry and they decided to kill a man in order to satiate their hunger. If I start thinking about that, if I start thinking like that, I would have to declare innocent many people who have done wrong in their lives. Okay, so I cannot do that. I cannot become so basic. I cannot become so sentimental. I need to apply what the law of the land says. And the law of the land says that they should be guilty. And that is why they are guilty. Justice Handy said to preserve harmony between the judiciary and public opinion, defendants should be declared innocent, because you need to keep public opinion in mind. Public would have a different sentiment in that regard, because public refers to utilitarianism. Public refers to utilitarianism. The majority of the people would accept something that is beneficial to the majority, and the minority will always have to suffer because of it. So obviously, if, sacrifice of one person means that the entire society will be saved, the society will very willingly sacrifice that person. That is what society wants. That is how the society survives. So if you want to run according to what people think, they need to be declared innocent. That is what Justice Handy said. What was the verdict by the court? The court was divided. And finally, those people were convicted. These are the schools of law. Natural school of law, law of nature, divine law. Basically, when you are dictated or when you allow yourself to be dictated by the laws of nature, that is what we call natural school of law. So, you know what nature says, the divine law, law which is eternal or universal, law which is not created by man, but it is found in nature. So you cannot utilize what is not meant for you. You cannot use in excess. Every animal on this planet can survive. No species would go extinct unless there is a man-made activity involved. All the species can survive together simultaneously in peace because they are following the most basic law, the law of nature. No species would die of starvation because the nature would always provide them with means of survival. It is the humans whose greed cannot be satiated, and that is the reason why they starve, they die of hunger. Okay, क्योंकि भाई there is this movie. Okay, so the movie is Platform, I guess, and there are people who are trapped in buildings, corners. There is this platform that runs from top floor to 500th floor. Now, the platform has food, and those people are dependent on the food that, goes all the way from up to the last floor on the platform. The platform has enough food for more than 500 people. But by the time the platform reaches 70th floor, the entire platform is empty. It has nothing but plain empty dishes with leftovers that are not even worth eating. So that taught a big lesson. Human beings never consume what they need exactly. They always want more. There's a certain greed that is inbuilt in human mind that does not let them satisfy themselves. If you have a house, you need to be happy. No, you want a bigger house. If you have a scooter, you should be happy. You have, mode of transportation, but no, you want a car. So, there's always a race to begin with. And there's always a race in which a human being is trapped. They will always want more, and that is the reason why at the cost of these people's greed there is another block or faction that has absolutely nothing. That is the primary reason. Okay, so when you discard that excessive need, when you discard that greed, and you allow yourself to be dictated by natural law, there is nothing that is left. There is no crime that could happen. There is nothing that you need. You will be at peace, and that is what Natural School of Law said. My question, do you think natural law can exist in a human society? Yes or no? Just a yes or no. Should there be a natural law? Do we have a natural law? Are we dictated by natural laws? Are we? Yes or no? Nobody has an answer? We are. Student says yes. How about everyone else? We are. You think we are dictated by the natural order of, by the order of nature? हम नेचर को खुद को अलाउ करते हैं कि हमें गवर्न करे? बिल्कुल भी नहीं. We live in an artificial setup. We live in a habitat that is created for us by ourselves. We do not live in jungles. We cut trees to live in houses. How is that natural? It is not natural. But there are certain things which are natural. For example, human beings are created by man. क्या बोल दिया मैंने? Human beings are created by God. There is no caste system that exists. There is no religion that exists. There is no discrepancy or, inequality that need to exist in the society. Who is to decide? Why do you decide that I am inferior than you? Why do you decide I belong to a particular caste? On what basis are you doing it? You are creating factions in the society on basis of religions and castes and colors and race and whatnot. Why are you doing it? Who made you do it? Who gave you the authority? If you allow yourself to be evaded by that school of thought, then you are actually following a little bit of nature. If you are actually deeming everyone as equal, men, women equal rights, equal treatment, everything, no caste, no religion, no barrier, live the life the way you want to. Don't be governed by the society. Don't be scared by the society. Love whoever you want. Do whatever you want. Just be happy. Don't make others unhappy. Be happy. Okay, don't treat anybody unfairly, unequally, etc. Article 14, right to equality. Article 21, right to life and liberty, are articles or are fundamental freedoms which are more naturally based. And those are the only freedoms that are naturally based. Okay. Then we have analytical school of law. What is analytical school of law? Separation of law and morality. You need to separate law from morality. Okay, so simple words mein, let's understand this. A is going. Okay. There is a river. And in the river, he see a man drowning. He is B. A himself does not know how to swim. Or let's say he knows how to swim. He is just walking. Okay. He tries somebody so that he comes for help, but nobody comes. And B drowns. My question is, will you punish him? He could have saved that man. He could have saved that man. But he didn't. Will you punish him? Yes or no? B जा रहा है रास्ते में, वो देखता है B डूब रहा है. Sorry, A जा रहा है रास्ते में. इतने कैरेक्टर्स इंट्रोड्यूस कर देती हूँ मैं, I get confused myself. Yes, so A जा रहा है रास्ते में, वो देखता है कि B डूब रहा है. वो उसे बचा सकता है, उसे तैरना आता है, पर वो नहीं बचाता. उसे लगता है मैंने शनेल पहन रखा है, शनेल भीग जाएगा. क्वेश्चन ये है कि क्या तुम ए को पनिश कर दोगे? नहीं करोगे. क्यों नहीं करोगे? बिकॉज लॉ एंड मोरालिटी आर टू सेपरेट थिंग्स. व्हाट इज मॉरल might not necessarily be law, right? So it is not that they're completely separate and they're so separate that they can never, be combined. Of course they can be combined, but then they are always not really at eye with each other. Killing, let's say that there is one person, or let's talk about section 302. Section 302 IPC is the punishment for murder. So section 302 provides that a person Because he has no legal obligation. Exactly. He might have a moral obligation, but there is no legal obligation. Law has not asked him to expressly do something which is also moral in nature. It hasn't. So yes, I was talking about section 302. Law and morality might not coexist. It is not necessary that what is moral would also be a law. It is also not necessary that what is legal will absolutely not be moral. It might be moral, but it might be immoral also. For example, taking a human life, killing, is punishable, isn't it? Killing is punishable. If you kill a man, you get punished. But how is it that a certain group of people are allowed to kill people? How is it that in a country where you're making murders punishable, you yourself have given an authority to execute people? Death sentence कैसे exist कर सकता है जब तुमने killing को punishable बना रखा है? Section 302 provides that anybody who commits a murder, does or kills anybody, takes life with an intention of committing death, with an intention of committing murder, with an intention to kill basically, is subject to punishment, which is a death punishment, life imprisonment, or imprisonment up to 10 years. That is the punishment. Now, if a person kills another person, there is a chance that he will be given a death sentence. So there is one hand where you are saying that killing is bad and you are willing to punish people for it. But on the same hand, the same person is being killed because he killed. This is retributive justice. An eye for an eye makes the entire world blind. If you want to teach him a lesson, is it necessary that you need to kill him? How is it moral? It is not moral. Killing can never be moral. Killing can never be justified. Killing is a natural. Dying is a natural act, needs to be natural. No human being should have control over your death. That is what morality says. But law deviates in a different path. Right, so analytical school of law is based on practicality. What is required should be done. Even if it is not moral, do it. Morality and law might coexist, but if there is a situation where their coexistence is not possible, do what is correct. Do what is legal. Do not do what is moral. What seems appropriate might not necessarily be moral, but that would be correct. Right? Because law allows it. What is correct? क्या सही होगा? जो law ने allow कर दिया. जैसे a person in order to defend himself can kill another person. If he sees that person robbing his house, he can kill him. If I see a robber, if I see a person robbing my house, if I see a robbery happening at my place, or if I see my house broken into in the middle of the night, I am entitled to kill that person. Is it moral? Is it right? No, it is not, but it is justified. How is it justified? Because law is allowing it. Right, so what you need to do will be determined by legal structure. It will not be determined by morals of the society. So what works only as a legal system which deviates from morality is what we call the analytical school of law. Everyone understood? Now we have historical school of law. According to Friedman, the main features of Savigny. Savigny was the propounder of historical school, and we really do not say Savigny, it's Zaffini. German थे ये. There is no V. It's actually F. Right. Historical school of jurisprudence. Law should be a reflection of the common spirit of the people and their customs. So whatever people have been doing for ages should be made a law. That is what historical school said in simple terms. What people have been doing, what people have been following, what practices, customs, traditions that they have been following for centuries, for eras, for decades, make that as law. That is what his philosophy was. Law is not static. It has a relationship with the development of the society. And in that manner, you will allow law to be developed Okay, although it is not practically possible, if you allow people to continue following their customs, child marriage, sati pratha, etc., would still be practiced in a patriarchal society. The society is patriarchal. There is still a lot of misogyny existing, and it will continue for a very long time. तो एक पेट्रियार्कियल सिस्टम में अगर तुम हिस्टोरिकल स्कूल ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन या लॉ को फॉलो करवाओगे तो फिर पेट्रियार्की कभी नहीं जाएगी, लॉ कभी इवॉल्व नहीं होगा. दिस इज द रीजन व्हाई हिस्टोरिकल स्कूल ऑफ थॉट वाज डिस्कार्डेड. इट वाज नॉट deemed relevant and applicable in the long run. Analytical is more, or analytical is something that is followed more. In the existing society, we are actually tilting towards analytical and sociological school, not historical. Sociological school was a creation of Roscoe Pound. The main features were it highlights the purpose and function of law rather than its content, the basic philosophy. If you are bringing a law, why are you bringing it? So the objects and reasons of law need to be there so that people understand why they are bound by the system. So people need to wear seat belt in Delhi NCR. Why is it? Because they need to be safe. If you're not wearing seat belt, you might meet with an accident, you might die. Right? So the object and reason behind making traffic laws so stringent is so that people do not die on roads. Right? So whenever you are giving people law, tell them why you are giving it to them. You need to have a proper objective and purpose in mind before you create a legislation. That is how legislations are created in the modern world. Law is a social institution that is designed for social need, is a tool to balance conflicting interests of the society. And your basic idea we have understood. Realistic school, Carl Llewellyn, identified some of the main features. Law is not static, it is dynamic. It is a means to social end. Realistic school and sociological school are not much different. Society changes faster than law. Basically, he tells that law needs to be dynamic. Do not bind law in a book or in a code. And if you are doing it, make sure that it is flexible enough to change. Right? So, if the law is flexible, then the law can catch up with the society, which is ever changing. It can catch up with the needs of the people, which will keep on developing. So law needs to be dynamic. No, law needs to be real. Law needs to be flexible so that it can adapt to the needs of the people. It is, after all, created for the people. So it should be according to those people. In what decade, what people do we have? What do they need? What is something that should determine the creation of law. किस decade में किस इंसान को किस चीज की जरूरत है, ये determine करना चाहिए कि उस decade में कौन सा law आना चाहिए. और ये होता है realistic law. This is called the practical law. Right? So like I said, sociological school and realistic school are not much different. Function and purpose of law are really something that you don't need, but शॉर्ट आंसर आ सकता है. चलो क्विज कर लेते हैं. प्रोवाइड वन पॉइंट ऑफ डिफरेंस बिटवीन द फॉलोइंग: नेचुरल स्कूल, एनालिटिकल स्कूल, सोशियोलॉजिकल स्कूल, रियलिस्टिक स्कूल, ओरिजिनल एंड रिव्यूड नेचुरल स्कूल. एक्सप्लेन द फॉलोइंग ब्रीफली. हिस्टोरिकल अप्रोच, द मैक्सिम लेक्स इन्वेस्टर नॉन एज फ्लेक्स. ये क्वेश्चंस आ सकते हैं, होमवर्क है तुम्हारा. You might be asked these questions in your boards. So practice these questions. These are important questions. Jurisprudence से अगर question आएगा तो इनमें से ही एक आ सकता है. So make sure that you are practicing these questions. And that's it for today, guys. We have a workshop tomorrow at 6 p.m. on the BYJU'S exam prep portal. You need to register for it. Many students are wondering how to manage their time right now since only 5 months are remaining. You need to start preparing for your boards also, especially the science students. You know, they have a lot of subjects. So in order to understand what should be your routine right now, what should you have done, what should you be doing from now on, is something that we are going to discuss tomorrow at 6 p.m. So make sure that you are attending this class on the portal, okay? And I shall see you. तब तक के लिए सब अपना ख्याल रखेंगे. क्लैट ने एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट अनाउंसमेंट किया है, उस अनाउंसमेंट को भी हम कल डिस्कस करेंगे at 4. CLAT has clarified everything and we shall discuss the clarification tomorrow at 4. So make sure that you are attending that lecture also so that you know what to do now, how to practice, how to revise, etc. Do not miss the sessions. I shall see you tomorrow. तब तक के लिए everyone take care. Please like the session, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and take care. Bye bye guys. Thank you so much.